Hi and welcome. The purpose of this video is to highlight 5 top tier weapons that go really well with dexterity type builds so you can gear up for the DLC. Some of these weapons are quite obvious, but there are ones in here that will surprise you. First on our list, the Uchi katana. Yes, the samurai is one of the most popular starting classes, and for good reason. The Uchi is so powerful straight out the gate, the katana moveset is quick, and the Ash of War unsheathed deals enormous stagger to enemies. And if you fancy power stancing, you can even pick up a second Uchi in the Death Touched Catacombs in Limgrave. The twist on the Uchi I'm going to recommend is that you go straight to Redmane Castle very early and grab the Red Hot Wet Blade. One of the deadliest starting setups is getting the Ash of War unsheathed in Agiel's Lake and infusing your Uchi with the Flame Art. You could then grab the Flame Shrouding Cracked Tier from the easier of the two Caelid Erdtree avatars, put some levels into Fate, buff with Flame Grant Me Strength, and completely annihilate most of the game. Picking up the Fire Scorpion Charm in Mount Gelmir will further add to the devastation you can inflict. If you're running a more dex-centric build, then Lightning or Keen infusing the Uchi will give you really high AR. Running Lightning lets you stack more buffs effectively, however. You can use the Lightning Cracked Tier, Lightning Scorpion Charm, Golden Vow to really multiply your damage, and you get added bonus damage if the arena has water on the ground or if it's raining. Yes, if it's raining. Next we have the Nagaa, another katana and quite similar to the Uchi katana. But for one thing, its length and therefore its reach. The moveset also has a thrusting attack on the charged heavy, making it more versatile in my opinion. There are 2 ways I love to play the Nagaa. One is making it cold infused and the other is lightning infused. With the cold infusion you get frostbite build up paired with your natural bleed that you get on the Nagaa. With the lightning infusion you get your really high AR that scales really well with dexterity. For an Ash of War I like to use a quick multi-hit Ash of War like Spinning Slash. Spinning Slash paired with Frostbite and Bleed can deal devastating damage, and the AoE of the attack is great if you find yourself getting ganked. On horseback, the Nagaa's reach is ideal for dealing with dragons, allowing you to trivialize most dragon fights by just booping them on the head until they die. I find with shorter weapons it can be a bit more annoying using this method. You find that you're missing the hitbox of the dragon more often than not. You can get the Nagaa off Yura right at the beginning of the game in Limgrave, or you can follow his questline until you get to Altus and get it there from him when he's not doing so well at the Second Church of Marika. Number 3 in the list, the Bolt of Grandsax, our first somber weapon. You can pick up the bolt when you visit Lendel Capital. It sits on top of the giant version of itself. You can access the area right after defeating Goldfree. Being a somber weapon means it's much easier to upgrade, especially if it's an alt weapon for your run. It works best on a high dexterity build because lightning damage scales so well with dex. And as a spear, the moveset is great for keeping distance and the light attacks come out so quickly. You can usually react roll intuitively after attacking. The lightning damage gets boosted by all of our buffs, and the Lightning Scorpion Charm with extra boosts when fighting on water, like against the Twin Gargoyles. The Ash of War is not interchangeable being a somber weapon, but it's excellent to have some ranged attacks like the Lightning Spear in your pocket, and paired with the Shard of Alexander, this can really pack a punch. Not to mention, it has a satisfying animation. As a spear, it works really well power stancing. I recommend the Naginata Spear as its partner for added bleed buildup. Next, we're talking quick attacks and Scarlet Rot buildup. It's the Ansur Rapier. You can find the Ansur to the west of the Shaded Castle after you kill the NPC invader Malay Marai. The Ansur has a rapier moveset which is so fun because of the quick recovery allowing you to get more hits in and still dodge. The weapon has a natural Scarlet Rot buildup, so works great on bosses with large health pools like Fire Giant or Plastigius X. Although Plassey has large resistance to all status buildup, you will eventually proc with enough hits. I use the Ash of War repeating thrusts to further improve the Scarlet Rot buildup. You can experiment with different infusions to add bleed, frost, poison. If you infuse this weapon with poison, for instance, you can have poison and Scarlet Rot buildup, and then you can buff with the likes of Blood Flame Blade to add bleed buildup as well. There's an absolute array of options, and I love experimenting with cool weapons like this. Last but not least at all, my absolute favourite dex weapon is the Flambbur. The Flambbur is a great sword, so naturally you think, oh, it's for strength builds. But no, that's what's so fantastic about these games. You just need to hit the required stats to wield the weapon, and then you can infuse the weapon to suit your build. The setup I love with this is keen infused for that dexterity scaling and still allowing me to have weapon buffs. I usually grab Chilling Mist from the ruins just outside of Ranni's Tower in northwest Liurnia. When I start a boss fight, I usually buff Flambbur with Blood Flame Blade. Blood Flame Blade will add bleed build-up to your weapon, but for weapons that already have a natural bleed build-up like the Flambbur, it just goes crazy. This setup makes enemies proc blood loss so quickly, and then hitting my Ash to proc Frostbite rapidly can be unreal and devastating. I fell in love with this weapon on this playthrough. Let's just take a look at this Moog fight. Able to one phase him because of the high burst damage from the status procs. The moveset is fantastic as well. I think greatswords probably have the best movesets in the game. They're heavier type weapons, so the stagger is noticeable, even with light attacks interrupting Millennia when she doesn't have her hyper armor. And Chilling Mist even takes her out of waterfowl if procs in time. You can grab the Flambbur right away at the start of the game. Now you will need to ride to Redmane Castle and Caelid, so you might want to wait a bit, but you can grab it at the start if you're brave. Go before the festival starts though.